Elric, the albino prince of ruins, has been condemned to an eternity of anguish. His only chance of escape is a quest across the dimensions of the multiverse for the rosewood soul box containing the soul of his father. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I am your host, Liam, aka Hemvar. Today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Michael Moorcock's The Revenge of the Rose. The Revenge of the Rose is a 1991 novel by Michael Moorcock. It is actually the last main Elric story to be released. That is, until Citadel of Forgotten Myths is released later this year, 2022 that is. So this one actually fits chronologically as book 6, so after The Vanishing Tower and before The Bane of the Black Sword, but was written later, of course. It was actually written after the other book that was written later, which is Fortress of the Pearl, which I have previously reviewed. I reviewed all the previous books. Actually, at the point I'm recording this, I have read through Stormbringer, and I will read the extra stuff like Elric at the End of Time and the Dream Quest trilogy later, but I will be prepared, in my opinion, hopefully prepared for Citadel of Forgotten Myths later this year. I'm getting off topic a little bit, but I do also have some other stories I'd like to read, such as, I think it's Red Pearls and Swords and Dark Magic, which came out about 10 years ago, before that comes out as well. But regardless, The Revenge of the Rose is kind of on par with The Fortress of the Pearl, which is to say, it's not as good. I don't know what's up with Moorcock's writing later on. This was written a couple years after The Fortress of the Pearl. It's just not that entertaining. It's less swords and sorcery, and it's more thoughtful. It starts off better, I think, than The Fortress of the Pearl, but I think actually the best parts of those books are their beginnings. Well, actually, some of the best parts of those books, both these books, are their beginnings. So The Fortress of the Pearl ends on a really cool note. So I would say maybe this one's a little lower than that one. Definitely not as good as The Vanishing Tower. So we also have Waldrick of Albion, and we also have, well, he is a poet of Victorian and Elizabethan times, as he has seemed to travel through time. We also have the Rose, another traveler of the multiverse who seeks revenge and redemption. Though, like I mentioned in the blurb, Elric is seeking the soul of his father. I felt it was interesting to have Rose take a front and center role in Elric's search for his father's soul. We do get some cool stuff with the dragons and Melniboné. We also get some cool stuff, about Elric kind of being cursed and the thousands of lives he snuffed out. But this is in 3 parts. Like most of the other books in the Elric saga, it concerns the fate of empires. We also have one about a werewolf, and then the part about a rose redeemed, a rose revived. So the Rose is an interesting character, but honestly one of the least memorable ones from the Elric saga, having now finished Stormbringer. This one's just not as good as the other ones. Maybe I say that, and maybe in 20 years I'll think it's the best of them all. But it does seem to retcon some of the ideas of Melniboné and origins that are kind of established on the Sailor and the Seas of Fate, so that's kind of lame, but it definitely seems to be part of a overall theme of redemption that is going on in, well, Elric kind of has that the entire time, but he's also doomed, as I mentioned at the beginning as well. So he also mentions the Wheel of Time here, which is cool. This came out before the Wheel of Time, I think. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it came out right around the same time actually, so that's interesting to think about. I wonder if anyway. So I'd have to look that up, more details, but I know they came out around the same time. So, and I know that idea is not original to Robert Jordan, not even close. So, but this was a decent entry, less badassery, which is probably why I think it's not as good. It's not exactly what I want when I go into an Elric novel. It is kind of what I was expecting somewhat, since I knew it was one written later, like The Fortress of the Pearl, but I see why a lot of people skip this one, and I don't think there would be a big problem if people did skip this one. I wouldn't skip it, especially if you do want to read the Citadel of Forgotten Myths that comes out this year, seeing as the stuff he does retcon in here and the stuff that is pertinent will probably be pertinent in the new book, which is why it might be a little bit important as well to read the Dream Quest trilogy, but I probably won't have that finished before the new book comes out. And I will try to read the short story, though, Red Pearls, as I think that is connected to the new book. But we shall see. I'm getting a little off topic, but thank you for joining me on my quest to read through the Elric stories. It has been pretty fun so far, and in the past year, in the past year, I've read the eight Elric novels. And this year, so 2022, I've read 7 of those 8. So it's been a pretty good year. I'm looking forward to more Moorcock. The next Moorcock I read will probably be Dances at the End of Time. But after this, you will get more thoughts on Elric, specifically the Bane of the Black Sword and Stormbringer. I will catch you next time.